All right, welcome to today's video. Today we are back with our Team Challenge Qualifier for round 3. This round I'm going up against Galaxy Mewtwo. And, a couple weeks ago when this tournament was played, Galaxy Mewtwo was like a brand new-ish type deck to the top of the meta. I mean, obviously played against a bunch of Mewtwo decks before, but hadn't really seen this Galaxy Mewtwo yet. So me and my Lucario and Melmetal deck were feeling pretty uncomfortable going into this. I obviously knew what the deck did. I'd seen it be successful in some online tournaments, seen a couple deck profiles, but this deck really hadn't been explored yet. It hadn't been too much on the ladder, so I hadn't even played against it yet with Lucario and Melmetal. So I'm going into this pretty blind, feeling pretty uncomfortable, but we're going to give it our best shot, and we're going to head over to the games right now. All right, going into our first game here. I think, let's see, who gets to call a coin toss? I get to call it. I think I've got to call it every single time, and I win it again. Tails has been popping up nice for me. Against Galaxy Mewtwo, again, here is the main problem I have as opposed to my first 2 rounds against ADP. I knew ADP wanted to go first. This round, I'm just not sure because I'm very inexperienced playing against this Galaxy Mewtwo, whether they want to go first. I'm thinking that I maybe want to be able to play the supporter, so I go second. I still in this matchup am not sure if this is right. Regardless here, we're going to end up taking a mulligan, not having any of the right basic mons to start us off here, so Mulligan City it is. Our opponent does have card to play, so they're good to go. We are going to get to start with the Lucario and Melmetal. One thing I do know, and I'm happy to see in my opening hand here, is this Power Plant. I know that if I have Power Plant and my opponent is unable to find his swells, we're going to be in a good spot. My opponent is playing, I'm playing 3 Power Plants, I believe. My opponent's playing 2 Chaotic Swells, so I do have a risk of dropping my swell first here, but they just have, or the Power Plant first here, but they just have the swell on the first turn, so they're not going to have to worry about that. We'll play the Power Plant to knock out the swell. I do think that when we end up looking at our deck, though, we find out that we only have 1 Power Plant left, and my opponent and my other Power Plant is prized. Since we got to go second here, we end up attaching to Lucario and Melmetal, and we end up Marnieing. My opponent is playing Crushing Hammer, so I'm not exactly sure if, playing my Lucario and Melmetal, I'm not sure what kind of damage they're going to do to me, if they're just going to be able to... The thing I'm really scared of in this matchup is getting Horror House GX'd into Poltegeist and having my active Pokemon knocked out. So I think I kind of learn as we go on that it's actually best not to have the Lucario Melmetal and even just not to power up whatever is in the active slot, because by doing so, you're basically putting an energy on a Pokemon that could be easily killed by a Poltegeist attack. So, or Poltergeist attack. I keep Poltegeist is playing against too much Mad Party. So they are, starting off. They have that Garchomp and Giratina, and they get to Dedenne right off the bat. Even shutting off Mewtwo, what would have been nice with the Power Plant is being able to shut off the Dedenne. We're obviously not going to be able to do that, and I think it's going to be consistent throughout the series. Is that my opponent is just able to comfortably get those Chaotic Swells and mitigate what is realistically the strongest card in my deck in this matchup. They do end up getting the Mewtwo, and they're getting all the GXs. They get the Incineroar, which we obviously know is a huge problem because of its GX attack. The GX attack of the Giratina. Garchomp is strong, it just has strong attacks itself. He also plays the the Trevenant and Dusk Noir, which I think it's the Night Watch attack, has an absolutely strong ability for controlling the opponent's hand. Really, there's a reason that this Mewtwo and Mew is incredibly strong right now. And I think right off the bat, I'm guessing I'm about to get Horror Housed here. We'll see, though. I think he was able to get the Gengar. I know he was able to put the Incineroar in the graveyard. He's obviously got access to the Garchomp there. Yeah, he does just Horror House GX, which means that we're going to get, Poltergeist next turn. I already can do the math and see that my Lucario Melmetal is dead, so we're just going to Intrepid Sword here to try and accelerate some energy to the Zacian V. And we get a little energy here, so, we're essentially playing a card this turn, but really, this is just unfortunate. I really wish that I kind of had, a little bit more foresight. I've not only have played obviously this matchup, but played against a ton of Galaxy Mewtwo on the ladder, and a ton of I played against Galaxy Mewtwo, so against in the tournament next week. So, you know, the people at my LGS are very into playing this Galaxy Mewtwo right now. So Lucario and Melmetal, I don't think it's necessarily the worst matchup, but definitely considering moving over to like a psychic type attacker like the Dragapult or something like that. My opponent here is incredibly, I think he's already on our team challenge team, which is actually, I don't know if I mentioned this last time, has made it up to the top 4. So I think this upcoming weekend, or they played this last weekend potentially, and they can't spoil it exactly what happened, but they're in the final 4 filming, so obviously a strong competitor here. This Mewtwo and Mew is known as kind of a tough deck to play, but my opponent is obviously pretty skilled in it, and just typically people at my LGS are pretty skilled, which I like. I like playing against strong opponents, so not too bad. This obviously he does end up using the Poltergeist to completely wreck my Lucario and Melmetal, taking 3 prizes off the bat, and I'm just set back so far. We're contemplating here, just because we're in such a terrible spot. We obviously have a lot of these supporters. What do we want to use? I think I considered Marnie for a while, but also I'm just thinking that we are kind of looking for other cards that we got to draw, and if he's just going to keep poltergeisting me, that's just going to be the reality of the situation. And I think what we're looking at here is we're probably going to try and power up a new Lucario and Melmetal, because we're going to want to get rid of the energy of our opponent here. And I think what's actually going to save us from any more Poltergeist attacks is that we're going to be able to full Metal Wall here, thanks to the Metal Saucer that we drew off that Cynthia and Caitlin, and the ability to just switch it up. So, if we had to Marnie, we would have had to throw away some of these other cards that we might have needed. So it really ended up working out for us. He is going to throw the Vileplume GX into the graveyard now, so he's going to have access to that, what's it called, the something bloom attack. I don't necessarily know the names of some of these attacks. I just know that they hit pretty hard sometimes. I think the bloom, or he could be going for the Star Search. That's another option for him here. Yeah, he just wants the Star Search to accelerate his energy. I think this is just the move, and my opponent, read the line perfectly. That I really, my Full Metal Wall GX is a one-time go, and now he's already been able to power back up to 2 energy in just 1 turn, and I'm sitting in a really god-awful spot. He's also another key card in this matchup that he was able to find. He is playing a 1-of Big Charm, and that Big Charm on the Mewtwo and Mew means that if I Steel Fist attack the Mewtwo to bring it down, normally that would put it in range of a Brave Blade. Unfortunately now, it leaves it, because of the Big Charm, it leaves it on 250 health, which is not enough for the Zacian V to knock out with 1 Brave Blade, meaning I'm going to have to hit 2 Steel Fists into this Mewtwo, and it just puts us in just a really rotten spot. I'm not feeling like this matchup's incredibly favorable. I could be wrong, could just be misplaying it. Very possible on my end, but I'm just not feeling great about the matchup there. So I do have to Steel Fist. It's going to let me accelerate some energy. I'm in a spot where he can't do too much damage to me with the Poltergeist. He may be looking to use the Dusknoir and Trevenant to Night Watch. I know that people in my LGS have been, when they have the option, have been really favoring that attack. He ends up hitting the heads and takes an energy off of the Lucario and Melmetal. I'm actually fine with that. I think it would have been better for him to take it off the Zacian, just because my Lucario and Melmetal does resist, but I just don't see myself. It's literally a 4-hit KO on this Mewtwo, because 2 Steel Fists to power up, even if I Steel Fist again next turn, got 4 energy, my 4 energy attack is only 150 damage on my Lucario and Melmetal. It's just not good enough. He ends up bossing up the Zacian, going for the Poltergeist. I think he's probably thinking like, hey, if all 5 of those are trainer cards, he's going to hit me really hard. Potential for knockout, even with the Full Metal Wall GX buff, but he only ends up hitting me for 70 because I had the Metal Saucer and the boss's orders. We do now get to Metal Saucer onto our Zacian. We get to attach another Metal Saucer to the active Zacian for the turn, and I think I might be contemplating stalling with the boss's orders here by putting up the what am I looking at? Probably putting up maybe the Jirachi or Dedenne, or I'm just considering, what I do end up doing is I end up just passing, and I think what I was definitely contemplating there was Intrepid Sorting. I think the risk was that I didn't want to Intrepid Sort and potentially damage myself. If I ended up drawing into 3 trainer cards, he'd be able to attack me for 170, which would be a knockout. So I kind of tried to mitigate the risk there, hoping that next turn I'm going to be able to hit him hard. He does, however, he does, however, have the Mallow and Lana, which he's able to heal up his team and then just use the Massive Bloom to knock me out. So he didn't have knockout before, but able to use that Mallow Lana effectively, bring himself down to 1 prize card. We're thinking probably going to have to stall with Lillie's Pokédolls here. We have just a ton of damage that we have to do on this Mewtwo and Mew. So I end up putting the Lillie's Pokédoll in the active spot. We draw a switch, so I'm kind of trying to contemplate how I can maneuver myself through the rest of this matchup. I decide that I want to move one of my Pokemon into the active here. I think it's probably the Lucario and Melmetal because I need to start Steel Fisting again. Heavy Impact's the other attack that does 150. I need to start Steel Fisting to soften this thing up so I can one-hit, so I can knock out with a Brave Blade. And I'm looking at what he can do, but I'm kind of thinking, like, man, this is just such a bad spot if he's able to get 1 more energy. So I needed to do some damage, so he can't just Massive Bloom. But if he's able to get 1 more energy, he's going to be able to attack with some of his other attacks. He won't be able to use the GX attack on the Incineroar because he's already used his GX attack for the turn. That's the benefit of them using the Horror House. They essentially guarantee themselves a quick KO, but then they're not able to use a GX attack for the rest of the turn. So I feel safe enough to Steel Fist in here. I know that I obviously resist the Mewtwo because I have the Psychic Resistance. I get 50 damage in. He's going to hit me, I think, here. I think if he has... I'm hoping that he doesn't have another energy, because if he doesn't, he's either going to have to Star Search or he's going to have to Massive Bloom. And Massive Bloom now, I think, is only going to do 130 minus 50 because of the resistance. Or actually, minus more than that, actually, because minus 20 for resistance, minus 30 for the goggles, minus 30 for the Full Metal Wall. So if he hits me with the Massive Bloom, it's only doing, what, 130 minus 30. It's only going to do 50 to me if he comes in with the Massive Bloom. So I know that my Lucario Melmetal can tank pretty good. I think he does play a Tool Scrapper, so I'm kind of hoping, obviously, he doesn't draw the Tool Scrapper. That would be bad. I'm really just kind of relying on him right now to not draw into an energy, and he doesn't. So we're able to Massive Bloom him there. I'm thinking now. I'm guessing we're just gonna have to Steel Fist again. We don't want to. I maybe should have considered putting down the Zacian and putting energy on it. But we finally have the Mewtwo in a spot where, if we'd like, we could knock it out with a Brave Blade next turn. We have the switch in hand. Really hoping he doesn't find an energy. Hoping he doesn't have. I think he was playing a couple Mallow and Lanas. So I'm really hoping he doesn't have the Mallow and Lana. That would have been really bad for us as well. He is thinking here. I wonder what he drew. One thing I'm not very strong about personally is reading my opponent's hand. He does have the Marnie, which I think is kind of just nuts. And it does make me wish that I played the Zacian and played the Metal Saucer, because, you know, then I wouldn't have a Zacian and a Metal Energy on the bottom of my deck, or even could have put the Metal Energy on the Zacian here. He does miss a Hammers, which is good for us. Yeah, I should have done something with the Metal Energy, knowing my opponent had Hammers left available to him, and all that good stuff. So my opponent is still looking for energy, just because he knows the best attack that he has right now, only on 2 energy, is going to be that Massive Bloom, which is only going to do 50 damage. He does find his 3rd Mewtwo. He had put 1 in the graveyard earlier. He needed to find another one because next turn he's staring down the barrel of a knockout, and, you know, he is going to end up Star Searching. I think that's pretty smart because that lets him accelerate to the next Mewtwo. He knows his Mewtwo's not long for this world. He knows that doing 50 damage is, you know, not super beneficial for him. So I think we're probably in a spot here based on what we drew. I don't want a Marnie. And I don't really care about these Quick Ball. I think I might use a Quick Ball to go get the Zacian. Again, this just makes me like really regret the fact that I didn't already have a Zacian on the field, you know, with an energy attached to it, all that good stuff. I think that was, you know, one of the decent misplays here, just because, you know, it would have been nice to have a thinner deck, especially after that search. Now we do shuffle them up and discard to draw 7. We obviously don't want a Marnie based on what my opponent has over on their side of the field. We draw the Mallow Lana, which is really nice, except for the fact that we can't Mallow Lana this turn, and we need our damaged Lucario and Melmetal GX in the active spot when we switch it out. We don't have another switch. We don't really have anything, so we're just going to have to retreat because I don't want to give my opponent another turn, and I actually want to start drawing some prizes. So we are going to retreat into the Zacian. I definitely want to attach the Metal Energy now. And we could have been in a situation where we had a Zacian with 2 Metal Energies on it on the bench, so I'm really regretting that play. We do Brave Blade. We get to draw 3 cards, and I'm assuming they're going to bring their Mewtwo up. I think, depending on what I get here, I'm definitely praying right now that I do not get trainer cards, and I actually dodge. It would have been very bad for me if they were all 3 trainer cards. They weren't all 3 trainer cards, so we are safe from a Poltergeist attack if he's able to have it. He rips the Professor's Research off the top of the deck, and, you know, he's got gas. He's only got, you know, I know he has some important cards in his deck still left over. I know he's missing some energy. He's playing a 10 energy set, and I think when I looked there, he had already accounted for 8 of his energy, meaning he has either 8 or 9 of his energy, meaning I think he has 2 energy exactly left. So he's going to try and play an energy this turn, and he's going to want to play an energy next turn. But say that 1 energy is prized, we're actually going to be sitting in a really great spot because aside from Poltergeist, he's not going to be doing too much damage to us. It would be great, though, if he misses an energy drop this turn. It's going to be absolutely busted for us. It's going to give us the opportunity to, you know, start doing some switcheroonies. If, you know, we're able to potentially heal some of our Mons, switch them out. We could even switch into the Pokédoll, and he just has to Star Search. Let's see, does he have any energy left in his deck? He does find the 1. So next turn, he's going to be able to Poltergeist, which really means that we're going to need to be careful about how many trainer cards we have in our hand. We do have 250 health, which means he's going to need to have 6 trainers in our hand in order to knock us out. And we're not attacking into a horror energy, so we're not adding more damage. But we do have, you know, the 20 damage on us, plus the 50 health from the Cape of Toughness. It does get a little dicier. He's only going to need 5 energy if he is able to find his Tool Scrapper. We are going to go with the Mallow and Lana here. I'm presuming we're going to want to go with the Mallow and Lana into a Pokédoll and switch back in. Because realistically, if he doesn't have his own Mallow and Lana, we're looking at a place where we can two times Brave Blade him. I want to say he has another Marnie that prevents us this, though. Basically, we get to a spot where, again, we have Win in hand. He can't retreat because he can't afford to lose any more energy off. We put him down to just, 40 HP off of this. And we're looking, you know, depending on, he's got a full grip, but depending on what's left, you know, we could potentially be taking the game. He is able to go into the boss's orders and Outrage, and that's going to be the game for us. The issue here was I 100% forgot about the Outrage. And I was healthy enough with the Zacian, but, you know, I think what maybe potentially would have been better, we could have switched into the Lucario Melmetal, done that 50 damage, he wouldn't have been able to kill us with an Outrage, and then we could have switched it again. So hindsight being 2020, it would have been better to go into the Lucario Melmetal, try and find energy, try and Steel Fist, stall the game out a little bit that way, because realistically, we're pretty safe because of all the items, you know, the attachments, the benefits that we had with Lucario Melmetal. If I had gone back and done that, I think the real crucial mistake there is I should have switched into the Lucario Melmetal to, you know, try and Steel Fist to not do all that damage on me, just because I opened deck list, I knew that he had 1 more boss's orders available. We get to our next game here. We're starting again with the Zacian this time. Last time we started with the Lucario and Melmetal. I like this better because if I'm gonna lose a Mon right off the bat, I'm actually fine losing the Zacian. What this allows me to do is put a Lucario and Melmetal on the bench, and thanks to the Tag Call, we are going to be able to search out the Guzma Hala. And I think we're really just hoping that we get to play a Power Plant and it just sticks. And there's no, potentially our opponent prizes some of their... hopefully we're hoping our opponent prizes like a Chaotic Swell or two. We want to see how many Power Plants we have. We are able to go get a Power Plant. We're definitely going to be playing that this turn. We're going to be playing... I think I ended up playing the Metal Goggles on the Zacian, and I kind of regret that. Realistically, with the way my opponent wants to play, he wants to... It seems like my opponent really wants to Horror House GX, and so I think just the Zacian just being a sacrificial lamb would have been better for us, so it's kind of a waste of a Metal Goggles there. If I'd gone back and done things differently, would have wanted to put the Zacian, the Metal Goggles on the Lucario and Melmetal. So he has the Cherish Ball, goes and gets the Mewtwo and Mew. He's able to attach and discard. What did he end up discarding? I can't... Is that the Trevenant, the Dusknoir and Trevenant that he discarded? Or... I'm not entirely sure. I can't... Based on that picture that was backwards there, I couldn't tell what it was. But he got one of his, GX Mons that Mewtwo can copy. He's not even able to do anything this turn. He just attaches, but he does hit heads on a Metal Hammer, putting my energy in the graveyard, and now me being behind an energy attachment is pretty bad. We do end up getting the Metal Saucer here, though. We're going to want to attach the Metal Energy, and, we've kind of learned our lesson. We went and got the Coating Metal Energy last turn, but we know because they have Crushing Hammers that we want to play those basically as a last resort. We're unlikely. I'm not too scared of the Charizard. So we are able to Metal Saucer. Because of the way we attached, we're able to Metal Saucer and attach to kind of, get ourselves back ahead in the energy attachment race. We do find another Metal Goggles that we're going to want to throw onto the Lucario and Melmetal. And then we're just going to Intrepid Sword to try and fill our hand back up. And maybe accelerate some energy to our Zacian. We'll see here. I'm definitely debating because I'm scared... by drawing that he's just going to try and go into the Horror House again. I think he's just going to want to do that anyways. I don't really know what I'm scared of. I just know that I have to, if a Zacian goes down, it means that he has to kill 3 of my guys. And the situation's always going to be that he has to kill 3 Mons to win the game because I'm only playing, I'm never going to put down a second Lucario Melmetal. So... the Zacian with the Lucario, he's going to have to kill the Lucario Melmetal and 2 Zacians to win the game, essentially. So, it's just the reality is that I need to force him to use his GX attack at one point or another. It's better, I think, if he's just able to Horror House GX and then Poltergeist the next turn, as opposed to saving that to use that Incineroar's GX attack to just deal massive damage to really any Pokemon that he wants with the boss's orders. So... I actually think that maybe this is a good bait on the Intrepid Sword to say, oh, go get your Gengar and Mimikyu, go Horror House GX me, I'm not really scared. He is able to put down the Gengar there. I want to say, as he go into the Air Balloon, he needs to find a way out, but maybe he's unable to get a way out of the active spot with that Charizard. He does have another Marnie. Unfortunate for me, and kind of probably unfortunate for him. He's probably wishing that I was able to have this bigger handful of trainers. But that's not going to be the case. He does Marnie me into 4 trainers and no draw supporters. I mean, I'm only playing 3 Boss's Orders in this deck, and he just Marnies me into just the most rotten hand. We do end up having the switch, though. We have a Metal Energy in hand. I actually think right now I'm worried right now that I'm actually going to switch in and start attacking with the Lucario and Melmetal. I actually think this is a big mistake if I do this. I should just be Intrepid Sorting. I should slow play it. The point of this, the deck of the Lucario and Melmetal is to run my opponent out of resources. So if I'm putting all my energies and everything up into the active spot, I think that's actually a mistake. Yeah, I do not like my play at all here. I end up bossing up the Mewtwo, and I'm going to end up Full Metal Walling to just get 1 energy off my opponent. We've already seen last turn that they can just get 2 energy by simply attaching and then star searching. So this really doesn't do anything. It's a big waste of a full metal wall. I'm trying to do something different just because I don't know this matchup so well, but this is just a flat-out mistake. I mean, he goes and gets the Jirachi. This makes me think he already has the Dedenne in his hand. Oh, he actually ends up having the Mallow Lana. He's just going to switch out. Oh, he does have the Dedenne in his hand already. Okay. Oh, he had 2 Dedennes. Yeah, so I was kind of hoping last turn that his hand was pretty stuck. I think that was naive of me. I think that's maybe what I was potentially playing towards, is hoping that he had a stuck hand and no energies, no way to mess up his hand, because he didn't do anything last turn. Right? He could have Dedenne last turn. He ended up not doing that. Ended up being a pretty smart play for him, because now he's just going to get to, energy up, Dedenne, Star Search to accelerate energy, and now I'm basically sitting with a Lucario and Melmetal with 1 energy, Zacian with 1 energy, and staring down the barrel of this Mewtwo and Mew GX that's ready to just start, Whorehouse GXing, Poltergeist, Night Watching, with 1 more energy acceleration. He's going to be able to use that Trevenant and Dusknoir's GX attack. He even has the access with the the Aurora energy to start using Charizard's attacks. He could use Dedenne's attacks if he wanted to paralyze me and take the Mewtwo in his hand with all the cards. I mean, he has the world at his fingertips. He's feeling super comfortable knowing my deck that he doesn't need that other Chaotic Swell, because he's already gotten rid of one of my power plants. This is just not good. Yeah, he ends up being able. It's Night Watch. Night Watch is the move, and he removes my hand, and we're officially just top decking. So again, just would have been way better to just Intrepid Sword. Just Intrepid Sword. Maybe force a Marnie out of him, force whatever. But now we're just top decking. And do I go for Steel Fist here? This is just a mistake too. I need to start getting cards in my hand. Okay, do I go for the Intrepid Sword? This would be much smarter. He doesn't have the big charm on it yet, so I don't need to do another Steel Fist. I guess I'm anticipating the big charm. This is another mistake in this game. Having more experience against the Mewtwo, I just know now what I would do differently almost every single time. And this ain't it. Damaging up this Mewtwo, letting him Night Watch me, letting him do all this stuff, not having, cards in my hand. This is just an absolute mistake here. We're looking very bad. I think he is at the point, if he wanted to, yeah, he could use the Darkest Tornado GX off of that Incineroar. I finally got to see the Incineroar card to remember what the attack is called. All I know is that when I'm not exactly paying attention to the attack that it's called, but when I see that GX token flip over and I take 1,000 damage, I just know that he's doing the Incineroar things. He has this Espeon Deoxys. I don't know. I haven't seen any Mewtwo's actually utilize that, so no clue what it does. No clue what I obviously can read the card and I know what it does, but I'm not sure what the actual intent here. He's going to end up bossing up my Zacian. I think this is just smart. And I'm assuming he'll probably just Darkest Tornado, right? For 50 billion damage? Like, why wouldn't you? Yeah. Yep, pretty simple move for him. Our back is going to be ending up against the wall here. I think we're going to put down the Lillie's Pokédoll this is again just to stall a turn. I end up top decking. I don't know what I'm debating here. I have to go get a Zacian. I have to Intrepid Sword. Like, I should have been doing this already. I've missed multiple Intrepid Sword turns in this game so far, so this was kind of a no-brainer. End up getting pretty much nothing useful. I mean, I'm hoping I get to keep maybe the professor's research next turn to draw 7 new cards, but this is just bleak. I mean, the only thing we have going for us is that if we are able to take down this Mewtwo, that he doesn't really have anything left. He's already used his GX attack. He hasn't started powering up anything. I think that's probably going to change here, because he's able to just go get 2 Mewtwo and Mews, and he'll probably just start powering up a second one on his bench. And we're just in a bad spot. Guzma Hala, yeah, I think he's just doing this so he can go get an energy. I guess he just hasn't been drawing the energy he's wanted to draw this turn, so cool. Big Charm. Yeah, Big Charm. Just a great card in this matchup. Really prevents, my opponent's Mewtwo's from dying too easily. Not sure where he's at on his Mallow and Lana usage, but this Mewtwo might not even be that great. We do get lucky here on the Night Watch that he misses the Professor's Research, so we've got a chance. We do top deck the Metal Saucer, start accelerating energy there. We end up getting... We needed another Metal Saucer, but we end up finding another energy, the Cape of Toughness, to put us up to 270 HP, which puts us out of range somewhat decently. And what are we thinking here? Probably just Intrepid Sword. I think we want to avoid him being able to try and go for the Poltergeist, so we will Quick Ball to probably find another Zacian. Yeah, that seems fine. And we're sitting here, if he goes for the Poltergeist, are we going to Intrepid Sword? Seems risky, but we end up, let's see, we end up accelerating one energy and having 4 cards in our hand. So if he's going to end up Poltergeisting me, he Poltergeist for 200 minus 80, so it's going to be 120, which is going to leave us on 10 HP exactly, which I think is pretty strong. I think if I was him, I might actually just go for the Night Watch. It doesn't do that much damage, but you want to keep trying to limit my hand. I think what he ends up going here for is, and miscalculating the math, actually we only have 3. I actually make the same mistake that my opponent's about to make, where he quickly looks at my hand and thinks that I have 4 Pokemon, and he misses 50 damage. Oh no, he ends up Marnieing, okay. I know that it comes up because he ends up messaging me being like, what happened to all my damage? And it's like, well, there just wasn't that many trainers in my hand. Yeah, we go here, only 1 trainer in the hand now. Okay, cool. Crushing Hammer, not ideal, but he misses it. Legit. I would imagine now, I think we take 0 damage if he tries to Poltergeist. That would be kind of cool for us. He does get the second attachment. What's he end up going for? I didn't see what it was. Did 160 damage, though. Outrage? No? I don't know. I missed it. That's cool. He kills us. Must have been someone's attack. We do end up accelerating there. We end up going there, and we're gonna Marnie, because we're basically hoping that he misses an energy drop, because we're gonna be taking out this Mewtwo and Mew, which is really good for us. We now have a second Zacian fully powered up, because we're going to be able to Metal Saucer onto the Zacian on the bench. I want to say he's already used like 3 Crushing Hammers, so we're not too worried about that at that point. We have we're going to take a couple damage from this. Yeah, so 230 damage, or 230 health Zacian left. And we take off the top. I think this is a situation where my opponent is looking at this full grip of 7 cards, and he's like, oh yeah, Poltergeist, this has to be it. I think he does miss here that it's going to be 150, but that's going to be minus 30. And I think what he ends up thinking and not realizing is that my Zacian is not a trainer card, because he ends up messaging me being like, where's my 50 damage? Which I'm just like, I'm pretty sure I only had 3 trainer cards in my hand, bub. I don't know. We'll see here. He's definitely contemplating. Maybe he doesn't have the energy drop. That would be pretty legit. Espeon and Deoxys off the Tag Call. He's only got 10 cards left in hand. Or in deck. So again, Lucario and Melmetal is doing its job. It's trying to run him out of resources. We do have the boss's orders, so we don't have to kill the Mewtwo and Mew anymore. I'm seeing my boss's orders, and I'm kind of thinking like, hey, if I maybe boss up the Charizard, it's unable to retreat. He doesn't have the Aurora energy to do Outrage. I could potentially just Brave Blade him next turn and be in a spot where we're in a 2-turn knockout if he doesn't have the switch. I'm kind of seeing that line here. I'm thinking that may be potentially what we want to go for, just because if we end up doing 230 damage to this Mewtwo, it's not going to knock him out, and he's just going to be able to outrage us if he finds an Aurora Energy, or if he finds a Poltergeist, or if he just, you know, does whatever, right? He, you know, he's putting us in a somewhat tough spot. Yeah, he ends up going, and I think he ends up messaging me being like, where's my extra 50 damage? He was expecting to do another 50, which would not have knocked out, but it's not really the point. We draw, what do we draw? We draw Zacian, and I think what I'm thinking here, just because I don't want to... This might be a mistake. I'm thinking maybe he just doesn't have an Aurora Energy or whatever the situation is, but we end up bossing in the Charizard. We're going to just hard retreat here, and then set ourselves up. We got to attach with the energy because we need to be able to retreat again and knock him out. I wonder if we should have just gone for the Mewtwo and Mew, and I don't know if the boss's orders, or we could have Marnied. Yeah, he says that should have been more damage. We only had 3 trainer cards, you know, minus 30, 120 damage. It actually did the exact right amount of damage. Yeah, he's asking for 80, and I was just like, yeah, I guess I'm kind of thinking like, whoa, what was the confusion here? I don't know. Yeah, he said he pulled you guys. We only had 3 trainer cards. He's thinking we had 4, so yeah. He's saying, where's the other 80? I don't know. Good question. Anyways, he tells me GG. He has the Switch. And does he have energy? Okay, he just has the boss up, and now he's just going to be able to, you know, finish us off here. With what? A Poltergeist, Night Watch, realistically anything is gonna kill us at this point. We only have what? We have we take 30 less damage, and oh, he has the Outrage too. Yeah, he ended up having the last Aurora Energy, so we take that one, and we end up losing 2-0 to this opponent here. Tough match against Galaxy Mewtwo. And that's going to be it for round 3. We are unfortunately unable to take down the Galaxy Mewtwo. Made a few mistakes. This is definitely a huge learning experience for us, and we are still in a win-in situation. If we win our next match, we'll be guaranteed into top 4, and since the opponent we just faced is also 3-0, he's already qualified for the top 4, so we're going to have a chance to get our revenge against this Galaxy Mewtwo if we are able to win our next game. Next game is going to be up against a Dragapult VMAX in the final round of this Team Challenge Qualifier tournament before we cut to top 4. We'll see you next time, and we'll have that video out shortly. Have a good rest of your week.